Heads here around me who were very involved in MEGATRIPOLIS. I was at the time doing solitary magic in Southwark. I never got to MEGATRIPOLIS, but Fraser came to me really because I was working in this graveyard. I published my books as John Constable, but on the 23rd of November 1996 I finally also became John Crow, which is that there was a party happening 5 minutes from Crossbones and from where I live, under London Bridge, in a new party called the Drome, a new space, and the FRASER CLARK had persuaded Daisy Campbell, Ken Campbell's daughter, to revive Ken's legendary production of Neil Oram's The Walk, a 24-hour play, the longest play at the time in the world. And this was all going to happen, and Fraser was also going to hang a party on it. And there'd be 7 caverns, and in every cavern there'd be healers and psychics, and here there'd be various forms of psytrance and really stripped down strange music in deep blue that you'd never heard before, like just the weirdest stuff happening. And that's where I met Fraser, and that's where we really got to know each other, especially in Bro James's yellow submarine caravan in the middle of the party. And when he heard that I was John Crow who somehow raised the spirit of the goose at Crossbones graveyard, he said to me, well, I'm not sure I get it, but I like it, so let's do something with it. Fraser said, well, do your ritual in the middle of the walk. And I said, yeah, but we go to the graveyard. He said, well, go to the graveyard, but bring them back. So in the middle of this banging party, we held a ceremony and then led about 100 trippers out of the walk and to the gates of the graveyard. Andrew Lockwood was there, Tim was there, a lot of people were there. And Susanna was there. And at the gates we were met, in fact, by many security guards ready to fight us if we tried to occupy the site. But it was a bit like putting the flowers in the guns. We lit candles, we tied ribbons, and we honoured the outcasts, dead and alive. And little by little, over the years, all those security guards went native. So that was how I met Fraser, and he got it when we did the Halloween of Crossbones that night in the warp, and then we became really good friends, and I did a lot more of his parties, including I ran a room at the notorious Den of Enlightenment, some of you might remember. Down in Camberwell, a very kind of wild party. One of those parties, Fraser came in to tell us none of us were going to be paid, but he had finally become enlightened. This is Fraser Clark, who's with us now, of course, from beyond the grave. Honouring Fraser. And he was among us. He was very frail, but he was like a saint, like a Christ, like a Buddha. He was already moving beyond the world. You know, he was using death as an advisor. And indeed, when he died, many of us were there. I was one of a loose convention of witches and shamans who actually put him in the ground. So I did literally bury Fraser. So I speak of him here with a great intimacy. You must learn to use death as an advisor. He says, whenever you are getting troubled, when your mind's locking up and filling with craziness and fear, remember your death is standing at your left-hand shoulder, just near enough to tap you on the shoulder at any moment. So this is a way not of more morbidly thinking about our death. This is a way of creatively thinking about our death, to set us free. Because in the moment we stand with our death, everything falls away. All the trivia, the things that bind us, even a lot of the programs, they start to come unraveled, as they will all come unraveled when we go through that door, through that gate. But even to look at that door, to look at that gate, is to give ourselves this wonderful opportunity of liberation. Moving through to Fraser, to that last party, to that last death. When we go through, as Fraser has gone through, we're communing with Fraser now on the other side. What are we communing with? Because in one sense, of course, we don't know. We don't know that there isn't this intricate astral, certainly where our thoughts of the living take on a life of their own, and perhaps where our spirits travel and create worlds. Perhaps all the heavens and hells of every religion exist, and if we find them, or we walk on through. on an open pathway through the stars. I follow in my own work at Crossbones, working with the goose, working with the outcast dead, I follow the open pathway to light a pathway for all spirits to complete their journeys. Whatever that means, because it's not the same for every person. Each one of us is different. And for myself, as I even look at my own mortality, it gives me strength to call on my own allies.